Okay, guys, we back. And I'm gonna start tapping in, okay? Like I was saying, I'm gonna tap in. I say I'm gonna start recording, doing some reaction content, doing some lifestyle videos for y'all. I'm starting, okay? I'm starting. So let's get right back into it. Ooh, even when it don't. Oh man, this is good music, huh? So today's we are watching If Christians Were 100% Honest, and it's just this is gonna be a good video because I feel like as Christians we should strive to be honest, you know. So let's just get right into it, you know. Let's get right into it.
We brought together What if you could speak your mind without fear of judgment? We brought together 7 strangers, protected their identities, and created a space for them to be completely honest. What will be revealed when they take the mask off?
There is something wrong with LGBT people.
There's something wrong. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't use the terminology, there's something wrong. No, I wouldn't use the terminology.
I'm going to say a strong no. Yes, I believe that homosexuality is a sin, but saying that like LGBTQ plus their people, there's something wrong with them as people, as human beings.
Yeah.
That's a harsh statement.
Harsh.
It's a hard topic.
Because it's like, what do you mean? Like, everyone struggles with sin, bro. That's like saying there's something wrong with anybody who struggles with just sin. Like, no, that's the human side of us. Like, that is real. That is nothing wrong. Like, that's normal. It's normal. It's normal. Come on.
This is a really sensitive topic because I know that a lot of LGBTQ people have been hurt by the church. They've been hurt by Christians. I personally have family members who identify as they, who are homosexual. While God hates sin, He loves the people, and He loves the homosexual, and He loves the transgender. Because He died.
I agree with him on that. God loves every person.
But the problem that I do see with LGBTQ people is that the lifestyle, it does take away a lot of things. They're depressed, they're lonely all the time, and that's not the life that God called for you. When you receive Christ, the Spirit of God can deliver you from homosexuality.
Amen.
And I've seen it happen. People who identify as bisexual or homosexual, and God delivers them, and they no longer choose to identify.
Man, that is completely like it's like you, a straight person, saying I like men, or a woman saying I like women. Like, yeah, God can, that's powerful, but God can deliver you from that. Like, if you're homosexual and you're watching this, like, it's like, yeah, you feel like that 100%, and I fully agree with you, bro. I fully agree with you. Like, I fully agree with the fact that you feel like that, and you feel like that's just the way you are, and that's the way you're born. Like, I feel like that. I agree with you in that. I agree with you in that. But that's what God does, though. Like, that's what He does. He changes us. He transforms us. You know, the blood transforms us. His love transforms us. You know.
That way. One thing, the Lord says that if you have sinned against one law, you have broken all the laws. And so every single human being is wrong. Like, if you ask that question, homosexual is wrong, well, sure. But are they a different type of wrong? No, they're not a different type of wrong.
I love that. It's not, the homosexuality isn't a worse sin than stealing, than lying, than gossiping. It's not a worse, in God's eyes, it's not a worse sin. Right, but the thing what Jesus did, I saw a video the other day. Jesus actually made a standard high, right? Because He said, if you've actually committed lust within your heart, if you've looked at a woman with lust, right? Not even done anything with her, but if you've looked at it, you've committed adultery in your heart. And then, so Jesus actually raised the bar because He's trying to show us that, like, we will fail no matter what we do, right? He's trying to get us away from these works, these laws, you know? He's trying to get us away from that ideology.
They are the same wrong as I am.
I feel like we tend to magnify the LGBTQ community. For example, I come from a Hispanic household and sexual abuse is brushed under the rug so many.
I agree. I fully agree, bro. The LGBTQ community is looked at as like outcasts, as like horrific and like unlike like they're not people, right? Just with a lot of other communities that struggle with just sin. It's a sin. Like it's a sin, but they're looked at like unhuman when like that's like the most human thing possible, right? It's like they should be looked at as like people struggle with sin the same way addicts are looked at, or abusers are looked at, like physical abusers. It's the same. It's the same thing, right? And so it's just like it's just a sin. Like let's see it as a sin, right, and not as like a fundamental issue within like their humanness, right? Because we like to make it seem like they are subhuman when they're not. They're just as beautiful as you and me watching this, right?
Sometimes straight, but you choose to magnify, let's say, my gay cousin over my molester uncle. You know what I mean?
You know, that's crazy. The molesters are looked at like better, or like more like normal people as someone who's gay. Like, that's insanity. That's insanity. And I'm sorry for, and I apologize for any LGBTQ person that was given that those eyes of disgust by Christians, by just anybody that's just like, that is condemning them for just them struggling with a sin. Especially as Christians, we're supposed to see them. We're supposed to understand that they're weak, the same way we're weak, right? The same way. So it's like, I see you as me. Like, I see you. I understand. I'm a Christian because I understand you. I understand that you're struggling with sin. So I see you and I love you, first off. I don't see you and I judge you, first off, right?
Something wrong with both.
And then why do we magnify the sin of homosexuality? It's because no one goes around saying murdering is okay, that theft is okay. But there are people going around saying, well, love is love and homosexuality is just love, and they're trying to justify it. And so the church has to do some sort of defense.
I agree with him to say that we shouldn't normalize sin, because that's what society likes to do, normalize sin. But society likes to normalize a lot of sin, like alcohol, like addiction, like society like drunkenness, like society normalizes drunkenness, right? But that like that's what we should get away from. But that doesn't mean that we should go all the way on the other side and start condemn them and push them down and say, you are this, you are that, you are that. Like, we should just, as society, as Christians, right? As Christians, I'm talking to a Christian, but if I'm not even talking Christians, as humans, we should try and love one another and not push things on people, because I understand what he's saying. Like, sometimes the LGBT community would be this, oh, like, hey, like, I'm gonna teach this to your child. I'm gonna teach to your child that, hey, you can be gay, or you can be a transgender, and it's like, no, like, that's not what we're supposed to do here, right? Like, that is pushing an ideology and putting it into people's minds, right? You're not doing all that. You're not doing all that. So I agree with him on that point.
And that's why the sin gets more attention than the others. And
I agree with that.
They can escape their shame not by marching down the street shouting pride, embrace who you are, look within. They can escape their shame by casting on Christ and receiving his forgiveness.
Women who get abortions are murderers.
Spicy topic, bro. As a man, honestly, I feel uncomfortable every time this topic is brought up. As I should, because it's like women who get abortions are murderers. Like, it's so harsh to say that to the 14-year-old girl who was raped.
It is God who gives and takes away life. Man or woman has no place taking a life that they didn't breathe into. There is no going around that one, I think, for Christians. You kill a baby, that makes you a murderer. This topic,
Like, so many nuances to the topic. Like, when does life start? Does life start after the second, the third, fourth trimester? Like, does it start at conception? Like, it's like, I think we can simplify it to some extent and say that life starts. Like there's somewhere in there that life starts, and it began, right? So it started wherever it began. Wherever it started, it began. That's where it began, and it begins at the intercourse, when men and women have sex. So when that embryo is implanted, the sperm goes on and attaches to the embryo, and like to me that's like life, right? Because it's like it started, right? It's like a student, a kindergarten isn't less of a student than a 12th grader, right? They're both students, like even though one just started, right? Maybe that's not a good analogy, but you get what I'm saying. Like it started, life has started to develop. So I'm like, is that murder though? It's not murder in the sense of society sees it, the sense of the word murder, like killing intentionally. I wouldn't say so, because the trauma, the critical thinking that not even the critical thinking, but the trauma and the pain that women go through, that first before they do their abortions, and after the postpartum that they go, it's like it's so heavy. Like, and for me as a man to even relate to that, I can't, right? And there's a lot of even people that haven't even gone through it, other women that haven't gone through it, like we can't relate to it, but I think you can hear them out in that. I think that's a big thing in society. It's like we don't like to hear people out. We just like to say, this is what I believe and this is what I feel, but like let's hear people out, you know?
Sorry, it gets emotional because
See? It's emotional.
I've seen people go through that.
See?
And, sorry.
She agrees and she's crying.
They feel it in their soul and in their spirit that it was wrong. And they deal with that pain and that shame and regret. My husband himself, him and his sisters, they are all a product of rape. And I mean, that's my husband. So to imagine that, like, he wouldn't be here if his mother didn't decide to keep them and raise them. Yeah, it's sad to think about.
Right, that's always the argument. For the Christian conservative side, it's like, well, and I agree, and I see it. It's like, I'm looking at a person that was conceived out of rape. I'm looking at a person that was conceived out of teen sex, and I'm like, I can't tell them that this shouldn't exist, right? But I think that, especially as Christians, we should look at it like there's something greater than us, right? That's God and His plan. And so I think it's not always up to us to make the law and the authority, or to, I think we can have opinions as humans, like that's okay, but it's not always up to us to be like, this is what it is. Hey. I think we can hear people out first. And I think we can just be okay with that, especially if you're not the one making the laws anyways. You go vote and do what you want to do in your own personal time, but for me to come out here and start yelling at someone and saying, hey, what you did is murder, hey, you know, it's like, I can have my viewpoints, and it's good to have a constructive debate, and debate where we are like not agreeing with each other, but hearing each other out. Like we are actually seeing, oh, this is a human with their ideas and expressions, and I'm gonna meet them with mine, and that's okay. Like you don't have to believe what I believe. I don't have to believe what you believe, especially in these situations like this. Like she's crying because there's, for people that are in her life that committed abortions and are now confessing to her that they feel so bad about it. But in the moment, you think they've probably felt bad about it. Now, in the moment, they're probably like, hey, that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I could. That's the only thing I could do. You know.
Maybe it was not an